ANC member in good standing has the right to vote, that we don't vote through delegates, that the Integrity Commission should have plenipotentiary powers to take binding decisions without referring them to the NEC.
South Africa's Economic Freedom Fighter Party President Julius Malema has characterized U.S. President Donald Trump as the reincarnation of Germany dictator Adolf Hitler. Malema says this is for Trump's stance in Venezuela, the Middle East, and funding the genocide in Palestine. Tensions between South Africa and the U.S. have been high since Trump's re-election as U.S. president. Thus, for his unsubstantiated claims that there are human rights abuses against the Afrikaners, Malema explains.
The onslaught on the people of Venezuela for the sole and admitted purpose of taking over Venezuela's oil refineries, the manipulation of the electoral processes in numerous elections in Latin America, the disruptive role of Donald Trump in the Middle East, including threat to colonize the Gaza Strip after funding the genocide of Palestinians, has resulted in the EFF correctly characterizing Donald Trump as a reincarnation of Adolf Hitler.
Somalia's Defense Minister Ahmed Moalem Faki says Somalis will not accept being demeaned after U.S. President Donald Trump again insulted people from the East African country. Speaking at a rally in Pennsylvania on Tuesday, Trump denounced migration from third world countries. Last week, Trump described Somalis as garbage at a cabinet meeting, saying they just run around killing each other. While expressing gratitude to the U.S. for its military support in the fight against al-Qaeda-linked militants in the country, Moalem Faki rejected Trump's characterization of Somalis. The Congolese government has called for the international community to take urgent measures to ensure compliance with the U.S. brokered DRC-Rwanda deal signed a week ago in Washington. Congo's Foreign Minister Teresa Kaikwamba Wagner this week said that the United States should consider expanding sanctions on Rwandan individuals and the military. Rwanda has continuously denied backing the M23 rebels and has blamed Congolese and Burundian forces for the renewed fighting. The M23 is not party to the Washington-mediated negotiations. And lastly, the Venezuelan Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Corina Machado says she is hopeful that a country will soon be free and become a beacon of democracy for the world. She was speaking in Norway after being smuggled out of Venezuela, where she had been living in hiding. The Norwegian Prime Minister Jonna Gahr Støre at a press conference today with Machado explained why this year's award was so special.
This year's prize has a special significance by the very strong emphasis of the link between a democracy that works as a democracy and the way to freedom and peace.
Recapping on your top stories, the African National Congress Party has vowed to change some of its constitution in a bid to fully renew itself. This came out during a media briefing of the ANC's National Democratic Revolution Strategy and Tactics and Constitution of the 5th National General Council that is underway in Boksburg, east of Johannesburg. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Tsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
In our sports headline, American tennis players are at the forefront of the lucrative MGM Slam in Las Vegas. And Chipa Mpengesi takes charge of African School of Excellence with bold plans to restore its legacy. I'll be back with these and other stories at the bottom of the hour.
Connecting Africa to the world. Africa in Business with Thami Ngubeni brings you the latest insights on Africa's economy.
It is 6 minutes after 4 p.m. Central African Time. At 4:30, we'll be bringing you your latest market indicators and the business of sport. Here's what we've got in store for you this afternoon on Africa in Business. We'll focus on what's been called the 3 trillion rand strategy. It's an export diversification strategy by the African National Congress in South Africa to reduce reliance on the United States. And some of the areas and sectors of focus include mining, manufacturing, green industries, as well as agro-processing. We'll take a look at the current economic situation in Tanzania as well. You'll remember that in October, there was the general election, which was very much disputed, and that then gave rise to the civil unrest, giving a mixed outlook for the economy as well as investor sentiment. Part of what we've got in store for you today. Do make sure that you stay tuned with us from now until 5 p.m. And also, we are available on all the various social media platforms, so do feel free to engage. At Channel Africa 1 is where you'll find us.
Africa means business. Tune into Africa in Business with Thami Ngubeni for the future of the African economy. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
We start here this afternoon with a look at the new statistics released this Thursday by Statistics South Africa. They show that poverty levels in the country have declined over a 17-year period, but millions of households remain vulnerable. The Poverty Trends in South Africa report tracks changes between 2006 and 2023, examining differences across gender, age groups and household structures. Channel Africa's Lebohang Mabange reports.
South Africa's long-term poverty trends show progress, but also a warning. Stats SA says the country is reducing poverty, yet too slowly to shift the lived reality for millions. According to Stats SA Director for Money-Metric Poverty and Inequality Statistics, Werner Rook, the data reveals a two-sided picture, improvement, but at a pace that leaves many behind.
The story of poverty in South Africa is mixed. While there has been notable progress made, the pace of that progress remains slow. In 2006, the poverty headcount using the lower bound poverty line, which is set at 1,300 Rand per person per month in 2023 prices, was 57.5%, or about 27.3 million people. By 2023, the headcount had dropped by 19.6 percentage points to 37.9%, approximately 23.2 million people.
This means nearly 4 million people have moved out of poverty since 2006, but more than 23 million still live below the lower bound poverty line. Stats SA says food poverty, which affects the most vulnerable households, has also declined but remains alarmingly high.
About 10.8 million South Africans remain food poor, roughly 2.2 million fewer than there were in 2006. In addition to falling poverty headcounts, poverty gaps have also narrowed over time. The poverty gap measures the depth of poverty. That is how far the poor are from the poverty line. A smaller gap means fewer resources are needed to lift people above that poverty line. Between 2015 and 2023, the gaps for all poverty lines declined. This shows that not only has the proportion of poor individuals decreased, but those who remain poor are on average closer to escaping poverty in 2023 than they were in 2015.
But while household incomes have improved in some areas, the burden of poverty continues to fall disproportionately on women. The report shows endangered inequalities that have barely shifted in nearly 2 decades.
The disparity between the sexes has remained mostly the same since 2006, with males recording headcounts that are on average roughly 4 percentage points lower than females when using the lower bound poverty line. Additionally, females continue to account for a larger share of the poor population. In 2023, roughly 53.6% of all poor persons were females, while the share for males was 46.4%.
Outside of gender, economists warn that age patterns are becoming a major risk factor. Young people continue to face highest levels of poverty driven by unemployment, sluggish economic growth, and limited pathways into the labor market. KPMG lead economist Frank Blackmore says the economy is simply not growing fast enough to support the country's expanding youth population.
There's still a lot of poverty around in all age groups. But the proportion in the younger age groups is larger than in the older age groups. And I guess there are many reasons for this. One, South Africa still has a young population that's been growing at 1.5%, whereas the economy has only been growing at less than 1% for the last 10 or 15 years. So what the country needs really is to focus on economic growth and opportunities, because only that is going to help accelerate our recovery from the situation.
While the data shows improvement, experts agree that without faster economic growth and targeted support for young people and women, poverty will remain entrenched. Reporting for Channel Africa, I am Lebogang Mabange in Johannesburg, South Africa.
Africa means business. Tune into Africa in Business with Thami Ngubeni for the future of the African economy. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
It has gone exactly 12 minutes after 4 p.m. Central African time as we turn our focus now to Tanzania. The current political situation in that country, marked by a disputed October 2025 general election and the ensuing civil unrest, has created a mixed outlook for the economy and investor sentiment. Analysts warn that the turmoil risks derailing the strong growth momentum that Tanzania has enjoyed in the past recent years. And that much now depends on how the international community responds to the disputed election and its aftermath, as well as whether the country can stay on track towards greater economic openness. For more on this, we joined on the line by an independent economic analyst, Walter Nguma. A very good afternoon to you, Walter. Welcome to Africa in Business.
Thank you so much.
So let's look at the post-election unrest in Tanzania. How has that changed or even reversed positive economic gains that had been gained in the past? And could the unrest perhaps impact Tanzania's growth outlook for 2025?
Yeah, it's true. The situation in Tanzania for now it's unpredictable, and as you can see, you can hear that there is a days of protests and all that. And what happened on 29th of October has left the country in a coma, meaning that the economy of the country. We are in a position that we don't see the progress, we don't see a bright future that we have been enjoying in the past years. For now, because of the circumstances, is not clear, and because of the political situation is still in a bad situation, in a circumstance that people are not seeing. That the situation will come into normal in a few days to come.
And how have the international investors reacted to the unrest?
For sure, the international have absolutely reacted in a negative way. As you can see, as we are speaking right now, we have some investors who have left the country because of the situation. They are not in the country right now. They have left the country, and those who are in a pipeline, they want to invest in Tanzania. They are not ready to come and invest in Tanzania for now because of what is going on, what the comments they received from their political leaders in their countries. They make them afraid of coming to invest in Tanzania. So the investors' confidence has gone down. And you can see that the cash flow in a country has getting into trouble, even though we have not yet received clear information how the economy has been disturbed by the central government, by the central bank. But we can see it even without hearing from this central bank. So the situation is like that. So even you can see even the people, you can hear even the political leaders. For example, you can hear from the Secretary of Foreign Affairs Secretary of Foreign Affairs in America what he has said about Tanzanians. So you can see that they are not even confident about the people from America who are investing in Tanzania if they are if their capital will be protected. So you can see in that way there is no way the Tanzanians can make a step. There is no way we can receive a new investors. Otherwise, we can receive investors who want to win the political leaders and win our natural resources.
So that's the reaction from the international investors. But how does this unrest affect Tanzania's standing within the East African community, as well as its ability to attract regional investment?
I can notice what is going on in East Africa. There is an abnormal silence between the East African political leaders. What you can see is kind of like there is underground resistance because of accusation that has been pointed to the accusation that has been pointed out by the president of Tanzania, like the people who cause the riots in the country are coming from the neighboring countries. So you are talking about Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Malawi, and Congo. So you can see in that situation, and there is no any political leaders has said anything about what the president of Tanzania has said. And also there is something like the president has said that the youth of Tanzania are the ones who are living in a good environment comparing to the other youth in other countries, in our neighboring countries or in our region. So it's kind of like it has caused the fire between the leaders of our neighboring countries and their youth. So it's kind of like that. And there are some circumstances. You can hear some people are speaking about Tanzania and say that they are speaking because even though they want to come and invest or they have their investment in Tanzania, they will not come in Tanzania because they know what will happen, like being kidnapped. So that is what they are afraid of coming to Tanzania. I can say the people from other countries, they feel are the one who are coming more comparing to the people compared to the people of our region because they know what's going on and they get scared and maybe they can be kidnapped because it has happened to their peoples. So they're still afraid.
And what would you highlight as the biggest economic risks if the political tensions that currently exist do not de-escalate? And if in fact they escalate in the coming few months, will this prolonged instability affect the shilling, the inflation expectations, or borrowing costs?
I think the first one will be borrowing cost. The borrowing cost will be higher because we can get either the loans with the rate of commercial rates that will cost our nation. It has happened during the time of John Pombe Magufuli that the borrowing cost has gone higher, and we are expecting this might be more worse comparing even the time of John Pombe Magufuli because what has happened has caused during the Pombe Magufuli things wasn't what was like how it was right now. Secondly, the issue of inflation. The inflation, as you know, Tanzanians will depend more than 70% of the goods we're using is within our countries. We order in from out of the Tanzanians. We import from Europe. We import from other countries like Kenya and other countries. So you can see if people will get a hard time to come and invest and bring their commodities in Tanzania, you can see how the inflation might go higher. Now we have in these recent days we have seen the inflation on food products. So you can in a future maybe things might be more worse. You know, it's kind of like people are speaking like there is no impact. The impact you can't see right now because we are still spending what we have in our pockets. But in the long run, there is something we might face a very bad consequences of what has happened on 29th of October. So there is also our economy might go down. The economy might go down because we also depends on the grants from our for our partners, development partners. So if they have cancelled all that, it means that there is no way the economy will still stand stable because there is a percentage, the percentage the country is spending on them, especially when it comes to the issue of medicines and the other. And the other issues. So,
and I guess we'll also have to see then, Walter, what their reactions are moving forward. We thank you so much for an update as we look at the economy of Tanzania post October 2025. Thank you so much for your insight. Much appreciated, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That's Walter Nguma, independent economic analyst focusing on Tanzania. It is exactly 22 minutes after 4 p.m. This is Africa in Business.
Africa means business. Tune into Africa in Business with Thami Ngubeni for the future of the African economy. Channel Africa, the African perspective. As 2025 draws to a close, we pause to honor the spirits that connect us. The festive season reminds us of what truly matters: family, community, and unity. No matter where you gather or reflect, Channel Africa is with you, bringing you stories and voices that are shaped by the African perspective.
Something significant happened on this day. Asanda, you were a baby, I'm sure. I'm not even sure if you were born. No, you were a baby, yeah.
Yoga. Matseko is still trying to convince me.
No, I've done that already, and you're going to come now on the journey.
I will try.
From all of us to all of you, may your season be safe and peaceful. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Connecting Africa to the world. Africa in Business with Thami Ngubeni brings you the latest insights on Africa's economy.
It is 24 minutes after 4 p.m. Central African Time. Transnet has finally inked its partnership with a Philippines-based firm which will invest 11 billion rand into upgrading Southern Africa's largest and busiest container terminal in Durban, South Africa. The deal will see International Container Terminal Incorporated operate the Durban Container Terminal Pier 2 over a period of 25 years. The signing of the deal comes after a Durban court ruling in October dismissing a challenge by one of the losing bidders. The state-owned entity holds a 51% stake in this new venture, while the terminal operator holds 49%. Zanele Buthelezi reports.
The Durban Container Terminal Pier 2 is the busiest in the country, handling 46% of South Africa's container traffic. However, the terminal is marred by inefficiencies and is ranked as one of the poorly performing globally. To change this, Transnet awarded ICTSI the contract to upgrade the terminal over a period of 25 years with an investment of 11 billion rand. Transnet's Group Chief Executive Michelle Phillips says this historic private-public partnership is a major step in their efforts to revitalizing the country's ports.
Being modernized, you will see new technologies being implemented in this terminal. We will see new equipment being commissioned in this terminal. We will see this terminal's capacity increase from 2 million TEUs to 2.8 million TEUs, and the country will also see this terminal improving in efficiencies and just being able to be more globally competitive, which is what we need right now.
She says these improvements are expected to reduce logistics cost and improve service quality to broaden market access and attract new container volumes. ICTSI is a global operator with 34 terminals across 20 countries, including in Australia, China, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. It was awarded the contracts 2 years ago, but a court challenge by one of the losing bidders, APM Terminals, a subsidiary of Maersk, sought to sink the deal. But in October this year, the court dismissed its application, allowing for this contract to proceed. Hans Metzen is the Senior Vice President and Regional Head of ICTSI.
So we have a lot of experience in, upgrading the skills of our colleagues who works for us. It's not only about, buying the right machinery and buying the right IT system. It's also which kind of processes you do. And we believe that, by applying best practices from across the world, that we can lift, the skills of the workforce here and the productivity of the port.
Over the years, trade unions have been very vocal in their opposition to the privatization of the Durban Container Terminal Pier 2. But Satao and United National Transport signed on for the Transnet and ICTSI partnership, saying they were assured that Transnet employees' jobs will be secured during the 25-year duration of the contract. Here's Satao's General Secretary Jack Mazibugo and UNT's Kirsten Damons.
We are concerned about the partnership, but what we want to see happening is for this partnership to assist us in rehabilitating our infrastructure, so that when they leave our country, they leave us with a infrastructure that is in a good state to run and to develop our employees and to manage our economy effectively.
And that will really open doors, unlock new opportunities for the community, and create sustainable jobs for employees of the Durban area.
According to the agreement with Labour, Transnet's employees will be seconded to the new joint venture between Transnet and ICTSI. Transnet says work at the terminal is expected to commence soon, setting sails on the efforts to improve South Africa's struggling ports. Zanele Buthelezi, SABC News, Durban.
Africa in Business on Channel Africa.
It is exactly 28 minutes after 4 p.m. Central African time. In just a moment, we'll take a look at the latest market indicators and a recap on the business of sport. We'll also this afternoon take a look on the latest ban. Yes, once again, the ban of vegetables coming from South Africa into Botswana. We'll be speaking with Senior Analyst and Executive Director at the Bureau for Food and Agricultural Policy, Dr. Matlo Kalaba, to find out the reasons why this ban was once again put in place. And you'll remember that the Department of Agriculture in South Africa also having quite a bit to contribute to this latest ban by President of Botswana, Duma Boko. And this is once again towards the end of last year. Remember that the ban was lifted on some of the produce that was put in place in the year 2022. So why this seesaw? Why this back and forth? And why isn't there a permanent resolution to this impasse? It's exactly 4:30 p.m. Central African time. That's still coming up just after the market indicators and the business of sport. But for now, here's Buntle Hetbush with the latest market indicators.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thanks, Thami. Good afternoon. In the indicators this afternoon, $1 is trading at 16 Rand 99 in South Africa. In Botswana, it's trading at 13 Pula 19. Namibia, it's at 16 Namibian dollars 99. The Zambian kwacha is trading at 23 kwacha 18. In Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 51. Ethiopia at 155 per 32, Uganda 3,531 shilling, and in Tanzania it's at 2,448 shilling. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,452 naira. In Egypt, the dollar is trading at 47 Egyptian pound 54. Tunisia, it's at 2 dinar 92. Algeria, 129 dinar 35. In Morocco, the dollar will cost you 9 dirham 13 this afternoon. In Angola, it's trading at 912 kwanza, while the Congolese franc is trading at 2,220 to the US dollar. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,222 per ounce, platinum at $1,674 per ounce, while Brent crude oil is at $61.33 a barrel. And that's the indicators. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please do send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or give us a call on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Buntle Hetbush.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
And for the latest from the business of sport, here is Figile Lingwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Good afternoon, Thami. We begin with tennis news in the sport business or business of sport. 8 of the world's elite men's professional tennis players, including American Taylor Fritz, will compete for a $1 million prize pool at the MGM Slam in Las Vegas next year. The exhibition in March will feature a 10-point tie-break knockout format. Fritz, the world number 6th and highest-ranked American, will headline the event. He will be joined by compatriot Tommy Paul, who is currently ranked 20th. Also competing are Norway's Australia's Nick Kyrgios, Brazil's Joao Fonseca, France's Gael Monfils, Italy's Lorenzo Musetti, and Kazakhstan's Alexander Bublik. In its third year, the MGM Slam has featured several high-profile matchups, including last year's showcase between Aryna Sabalenka and Naomi Osaka, and one of Rafael Nadal's final appearances before his retirement. The event comes at a time when the tennis is facing criticism over its relentless tour schedule. Some more tennis news. Women's tennis is set for a significant boost as the WTA Tour and Mercedes-Benz reached a landmark deal that could see as much as $500 million invested in the sport over 10 years. The iconic German car manufacturer is set to become the premier partner of the WTA and pour up to $50 million a year into women's tennis for up to 10 years. The deal will help with the tour's key goal of having equal prize money at events where both men and women feature. The deal comes off the back of French Open champion Coco Gauff being announced as the latest Mercedes brand ambassador. Now, football news. Chipco Holdings chairperson and Chippa United owner Sviwe Chippa Mpengesi has officially taken ownership of the newly rebranded Africa School of Excellence, signaling a fresh era for one of the South Africa's football's most storied and development institutions. Transnet's decision to relinquish control came after years of financial strain. The state-owned company has spent more than $12 million running the school, but in recent years has struggled to meet the institution's operational demands. The company's Group Chief Executive Officer, GCEO, Advocate Michelle Phillips, has more on what won Mpengesi this bid.
And in 2022, our board resolved that Transnet would exit the school as trustee and donor. Again, as I say, it was not an easy decision. We understood the impact on learners, parents, and staff. And that is why we committed to a responsible and transparent process to find a suitable replacement donor, one that we believe strongly would uphold the school's proud legacy. The reason why we are able to hand over to Chipco is because you have presented by far the best proposal.
Mpengesi has outlined an ambitious vision to transform the facility into a world-class academy that will play a central role in the DSTV Diski Challenge and the broader national development pipeline.
Yes, it's just part of my plans. And now I will unveil my plans for January. But there's a big surprise that is coming for along the lines of what you are saying. But the team must have a full-time TTC team that is here. But also I want to persuade PSL to bring the TTC project here so that other TTC teams, their players can stay here, can be kept here, not only for Chippa United, for most of the PSL clubs.
The school currently accommodates over 120 talented boys drawn from disadvantaged communities across the country, ranging from grade A to matric. While SAFA had long been a strategic partner in the project, the organization's CEO, Lydia Monyepao, says they support the transition and view Mpengesi's involvement as an opportunity to safeguard and strengthen the academy's legacy.
We are excited about this handover because it symbolizes the continuation of the School of Excellence in producing the next generation of football players. We know the history of the school and what Transnet and also the South African Football Association has done for the school. However, over the years, obviously, we had some challenges, financial, so to speak, when Transnet was taking a step back. But seeing the new company coming on board is really exciting for us. It means that we can continue the project where we had left off.
For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figile Lingwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Africa means business. Tune into Africa in Business with Thami Ngubeni for the future of the African economy. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Thank you to Bontle Hedbosch and Figile Lingwati. They take us to exactly 4:37 Central African Time. We turn our focus now to SA-US relations. South Africa has reaffirmed its stance amid a diplomatic rift over its exclusion from upcoming G20 engagements in the United States. This follows the announcement by the current G20 chair, the United States, that Poland will occupy South Africa's seat at next week's ministerial Sherpa meeting in Miami. Minister in the presidency, Khumbudzo Ntshavheni, emphasized that South Africa remains available to participate and called on G20 members to uphold the integrity of the forum's founding principles. Channel Africa's reporter Michael Mbewe has more.
10 of the biggest platforms were ordered to block children from midnight local time on Wednesday, or face fines up to 49.5 million.
The diplomatic tensions between South Africa and the United States have continued to intensify, reshaping the contours of relationship long regarded as strategically significant. At the center of the latest dispute is Washington's decision to bar South Africa from participating in the upcoming G20 summit in Miami, a move that has drawn sharp attention both within the continent and across the global diplomatic community. South Africa has responded by firmly reiterating its position, underscoring that its participation in the G20 is not only a matter of national interest, but also a representation of Africa's voice in one of the world's most influential economic forums. Here is South Africa's Minister in the Presidency, Khumbudzo Ntshavheni.
With the G20, the Sherpa meeting has not taken place yet. It's going to start on the 15th and 16th of December. We have indicated our availability to participate, and we leave it to other members of the G20 to take it up and show a confidence in the G20 system that members cannot be excluded unnecessarily. So that is our position. You'll recall that there was a last Sherpa meeting which countries has indicated that they will not allow the desegregation of the G20 system because all members must participate as required as founding participants. So that is our position.
Ntshavheni maintained that yielding to pressure from the United States is not an option. However, she noted that the trade discussions remain active, with South Africa continuing to regard the US as a key strategic partner.
Why should we plead with the US? We are not in the business of pleading with the USA. We are a sovereign state. They are a sovereign state. They can take their decisions. We'll take the decisions that are in the interest of South African. And we acknowledge that the US is a very strategic trading partner. That's why we continue to engage with them on the trade-related matters on South Africa and matters of mutual interest. The G20 fiasco does not indicate our relations and our ability to engage with the US. When they engage with us, we'll respond to them and we engage in the matter and form which they choose to engage. But as a trading partner, we value the US and will continue to pursue mechanism to remain a strategic trading partner for the US. And we hope they also know that South Africa remains strategic in their own national interest.
Ntshavheni says ongoing misinformation campaign driven by actors in the US and local groups like Solidarity and AfriForum is straining relations between Pretoria and Washington. She adds that actions by the Abatembo King fall under the EFF's political domain, and it is for the party to clarify whether it supports the narratives he is advancing.
You indicate that the misinformation is not getting away. The misinformation is only driven from the United States and people here in South Africa who are Solidarity and AfriForum in the main. We see now the king of Abatembo has joined, but it's for the EFF, who the king is their member, to articulate their position as a party, whether they agree with the notion, the misinformation that is perpetuated by their king.
Ntshavheni has also defended the withdrawal of a visa on arrival entry for Palestinian nationals, saying the system was being abused following unexplained flights from Israel. She says South Africa will not be used to depopulate Gaza and reaffirmed the country's support for a two-state solution grounded in UN solutions.
As indicated in the statement by the Minister of Home Affairs, he consulted with the security cluster. We realize that the system is being abused, and it forms part of depopulating Gaza, and South Africa is not going to be used to depopulate Gaza. We believe firmly on the cause for the freedom of the Palestinian people in a two-state solution. So the people of Gaza must remain in Gaza, and they must get their freedom and protection in Gaza, and the Israeli government must make true to the UN resolution of a two-state, which then is the state of Israel, which is free and protected and safe, and also the state of Palestine, which is free and protected and safe in line with the 1957 borders. That is our position.
She underscored that South Africa will not support any tactical efforts aimed at depopulating the Palestinian territories.
So any attempts to depopulate Gaza and any portion of the Palestinian territories will not be supported by South Africa, because and I will not go into the details, but there was an abuse of the system. The people who are coming here are not coming through because of their own free will, and their ability to go back to Gaza is very much in question. It's a single exit out, and they leave, and when they departure, maybe we must, as it's already communicated, they depart from an Israeli military base in Rohan. So they are not coming here because of the plight of the people of Palestine. They are coming here as part of the depopulation of Gaza, and we will not support it.
Michael Mbewe, Channel Africa News, Johannesburg.
Connecting Africa to the world. Africa in Business with Thami Ngubeni brings you the latest insights on Africa's economy.
It has gone exactly 4:43 Central African Time as we enter our suite. Today we're joined by a property development duo, Thami Ngubeni and Siyabonga Makamba. Over 5 years ago, the couple founded Ekasi Noble Property Development, which has built over 500 properties to date. When they started their property development company, Thami and Siyabonga, their goal was to provide every individual, even those who have been blacklisted or who thought that home ownership was out of reach for them, with the opportunity to own their own home. And they join us this afternoon. A very good afternoon to you, Thami and Siyabonga. Good to have you with us on Africa in Business. Welcome. You may be muted. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me, Thami, Siyabonga? All right, doesn't look like our connection to the entrepreneurs is stable right now. Let's try and reconnect with them in just a moment. It's exactly 4:44.
Africa means business. Tune into Africa in Business with Thami Ngubeni for the future of the African economy. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Get the news, music, and lifestyle of Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you'll be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa in Business on Channel Africa.
They are our guests this afternoon on the C-Suite, Thami Ngubeni and Siyabonga Makamba. A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to African Business. Good to have you with us.
No, thank you, everyone. Thank you for having us. We're just working on our lightning. Apologies on that, but thank you for having us.
No, that's great. You know, when we're looking at your story, the fact that you wanted to cater for a market that was uncatered for, people who didn't have great credit records, who couldn't get a loan from the bank in order to build a house. And that automatically disqualifies them from really achieving what many people hope to achieve in this lifetime. Why is it that this was so important to you? Let's start with you, Basi.
Awesome.
All right. Siyabonga, let's start with you.
No, she is, yeah, sorry, she was just trying to make a plan for us for a lightning to give a sharp.
Oh,
yes, yes.
All
Good
right.
afternoon, good evening. How's everybody doing? How are you, my lady?
Very, very well, Basi. Good to have you guys. Did you say there was lightning in the area?
No, the lighting. We're
Oh, the
just trying
lighting.
to-
Oh, I thought you were talking about lightning. Because, we've been having some really heavy storms and lightning in Johannesburg. So I'm glad you guys are safe and you're good. So let's get back to the issue of the day, Basi. I was just asking, why was it important for you and Siyabonga to really cater for a market that was not catered for and not being acknowledged?
So this is Basi. My name is actually Mapaseka Mojaki in full. The reason why the company started, it started in a township where a lot of people couldn't afford or thought of thinking that one day they'll be able to own properties, because obviously the system to owning property was not made easy, because obviously most of us have got a lot of mistakes that were done in school, or rather we would stay with uncles and aunts in one small back room in same yard, simply because the uncles or the aunties did not afford, or obviously they were blacklisted. So they were forced to be pegged in the township, even if they didn't want to be there. And we thought that, no, man, actually this market or this community of people would actually be the community of people that, if you would give them a second chance to say, here's an opportunity, please do come through. We can be able to assist you to own property. And then we would obviously work on that in terms of the easy way of accessing property, while we are still also trying to build their credit scores, so that we could finally eventually go back to the big financial institutions to obviously assist the person who did not get approved at that time with an asset of a land to be able to qualify for the property.
And I wonder, Siyabonga, what is this model that you put in place where people didn't necessarily have to have a good credit record? Talk to us about how you've structured it and the journey that you take them through.
Okay, so it is because when we looked around, especially in the township, black communities, I may put it that way, most of the people are blacklisted, and meaning they cannot move out of the township. So meaning your kids and everyone's kid, it is going to be the same experience, because it is like they are locked to be in the township. And then when you have a look at that, you get to see people who are blacklisted. It is people that were not aware how to protect their credit scores, and so someone gotten an SMS while they were still in high school for the clothing account. They went and opened that clothing account, and then they couldn't pay it. And 10 years later, when they want to buy a house, a car, the bank says, no, man, you made a problem back then, so you need to now go back and fix it. And then, as everyone knows, that fixing a credit score, it is not quite an easy journey. It is a very difficult journey, and most of the time you cannot even achieve on getting your credit score back on track. That's when you said, no, man, but these people, they can be able to afford, but they are just forced to be able to stay in this type of conditions because of their credit score. And then we had to start a plan where we can be able to raise our own monies without having to use the banks, because also you cannot blame it on the bank. You can't come to someone's house with your own rules.
And,
You
and, and
need
and
to
also
abide by
there's
their
the
rules.
and you're totally right, Siyabonga. There's also the issue of risk, which is what the
Yes.
banks will look at. And I really do apologize because unfortunately our time is out for this afternoon. But it's been great having you. It's been short but really inspiring. The fact that you are catering for people who ordinarily would not be being catered for. And we certainly hope to have another opportunity maybe to talk to you once again and to really just get into the depths of what it is that you have done. But thank you for joining us this afternoon. So much appreciated,
No,
Basi and
thank you
Siyabonga.
for having us. We truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
Mapaseka Mojaki, otherwise known as Basi, and Siyabonga Makamba. Really amazing work. They've built over 500 properties in townships, allowing people with bad credit scores and low credit scores to be able to have that gift of home ownership, which is a dream for so many. It's gone exactly 4:53 Central African time. Shall we prepare you for what's coming up next on Voix d'Afrique? As you say bonjour to you, madame.
Bonjour Thami, bonjour à tous les auditeurs de Channel Africa. Sur Vue d'Afrique, dans quelques minutes, nous parlerons de l'atterrissage d'un avion militaire nigérian au Burkina Faso qui ravive les tensions autour de l'espace aérien sahélien. Nous parlerons aussi de la Guinée-Bissau. La société civile exige la proclamation immédiate des résultats de la présidentielle dernière, mais aussi dans la deuxième partie de Vue d'Afrique en football avec Jolino Sungu, du dernier changement sur la liste des joueurs camerounais, entre autres. Merci Thami, à tout à l'heure sur Vue d'Afrique.
Merci beaucoup. She's Joelle, joining you in about 7 minutes' time as we enter Vue d'Afrique.
Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you will be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa in Business on Channel Africa.
It is 6 minutes to 5 p.m. Central African time. Now, the government of Botswana has reimposed a ban on the import of several vegetables into South Africa in an effort to reduce dependency on its imports and also support local farmers. South Africa exports around $17 million worth of vegetables to Botswana. The import restrictions apply to tomatoes, potatoes, onions, cabbage, carrots and butternut. And according to the government notice issued by Botswana's Ministry of Lands and Agriculture, the restrictions will be in place until further notice. For more on this, we joined on the line by Dr. Matlo Kalaba, a senior analyst and executive director at the Bureau for Food and Agricultural Policy. A very good afternoon to you, Doctor. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. So what is your take on the latest import ban by Botswana, and what could be the rationale for this move? Welcome.
Thank you, and good afternoon. Thanks for the invitation. Yes, this is a recycling of policies by the Botswana government, which we know it's been in place. These import bans maybe at different commodities, but mainly vegetables, started back in 2022 to 2023. And it's been on and off, and then again it came back last year, and we've seen after the elections, the new president then lifting that ban up until recently. But to your question, the rationale or the reasons given by the Botswana government is basically to try and develop the local supply. In the Gazette or communique that was released on the 8th of December by Botswana government, they basically are referring to the fact that the local producers are able to meet that demand, and therefore there's no need to import from elsewhere.
Right.
But obviously, historically, the outcome is different.
So what exactly is going to happen to the stock or the cancelled orders as a direct result of this ban?
So two things, right? From South Africa's perspective, if you're referring to the supply that is coming mainly from South Africa, and which is also fair, even though the ban refers to total imports, the country that is going to be affected the most is South Africa, which supplies more than 95% of all this list of vegetables that are mentioned. So those that are already in order, unfortunately, there may be difficulties to get into Botswana, given that the ban seems to be introduced upon the release. However, what we have seen in the past is that because the ban refers to fresh vegetables, we have seen a number of processors or big, let's say, retailers. What they do is they package them and then they do, combined vegetables on some of those. And then in that case, they are able to use that as a loophole. So the vegetables still go through, but in a different form. However, the impact on small producers and suppliers would be a little bit more because they may not have the easy switch from fresh to semi-processed vegetables.
Let's leave it at that for this afternoon, Dr. Matlo Kalaba. We'll have to see, as you rightly said, whether or not Botswana will be able to produce enough of its own vegetables as far as that list that was procured, and not to once again, have to unban the ban because at the moment it's very much of a seesaw and not much, certainty in the markets. Well, thank you so much for your contribution and your insight this afternoon, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's Dr. Matlo Kalaba, Senior Analyst and Executive Director at the Bureau for Food and Agricultural Policy. Brings us to exactly 1 minute to 5 p.m. Central African Time. That's how we wrap up this Thursday edition of Africa in Business. From myself, Thami Ngubeni, and our entire team, you have yourself a splendid afternoon further, and restez connectés as Vue d'Afrique heralds you into the African, or rather the French desk for today. It's 5 o'clock.
Get the news, music, and lifestyle of Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Vue d'Afrique, un magazine des actualités en français sur Channel Africa. Rendez-vous du lundi au vendredi avec Joël.